All right, so we should be live.
Live?
Yep.
Is
Oh,
it, are our
sorry.
mics on?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Should have given you a heads up, I guess. Sorry.
No, no warning whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I'm just so excited to get in on this data sheet. So let's go ahead and share the screen, share the scream, share the stream in the Janice is already here. Hell yeah.
Look, hey Janice. Let me I'm gonna share it on Discord.
Oh, don't want that. Uh, hide the browser capture for a sec. I'm gonna sign in. That way I can. Oh, this isn't gonna help at all.
Okay. So I have to pull up the data site. I actually haven't like looked. I haven't pulled it up in front of me. Warhammer community.
That's how I chat.
Let's take a look. Ryan, how's it going?
It's going good. I had the opportunity to kind of peruse a few of the changes
Um,
uh,
nice,
this
nice. People are
morning.
starting to pour in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, welcome, everybody.
Yeah, we'll give chat, I guess, like a few minutes here, just to get
Yeah.
some more people in, and then we'll start going through the proper review. I'm gonna go
Hmm.
grab a beverage, and I'll be right back.
I guess I'll hold down the fort then. How's everybody doing in chat? Say something in chat if you're just tuning in. Say hello. We're hanging out here. It's a cool vibe. Ryan's gone to get a drink, and I'm just hanging out. What do you guys think of the data slate? Oh boy. I'm trying to pull up chat here. Oh, there we go. Florida. We are not in Florida. Hello, Wasp. Congrats on ACO. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. T Duff, hello. Quinn Hardy, Common Pathfinder's Owl. We might be seeing some of that. Although what was not a Common Pathfinder Owl was Dallas. Dallas was not a Pathfinder Owl. That was a Pathfinder W. As a general player, rough. As a Hearthkyn player, primo. Interesting, interesting. Laurent Saint Pierre, Montreal over here. Hello, Laurent from Montreal. I don't know how to pronounce that, but is there a big like Montreal kill team scene? I know that they've got a lot of MCP down there. I don't know. I haven't heard a lot about MC or kill team players from Montreal. Matt is straight out of Calgary. As someone who played both Hearthkyn and Scouts regularly, I'm excited for both. I don't blame you, sir. I do not blame you at all.
All right, we're back.
Oh, welcome, Ryan. Welcome back.
Mm, thank you, thank you. So we've got like 25 people in chat right now. So I say we can go ahead and get started, Shane.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. I guess let's go down the thing here. First of all, everybody, welcome to our irregularly
Yeah, this is
scheduled
pretty
program.
irregular for us, but
We don't do too many live streams these days.
yeah, but
We should do more. They're fun.
yeah, they are.
So yeah, this is the Q2 2024 data slate coming in hot. And Ryan, I've been looking at it today, all day, talking to people about it. I have so many thoughts on this data slate. I have so many thoughts in general. I'm excited. This
So
is going to be
many. You're a real
yeah,
big thinking kind of guy.
huge into thinking.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of hot takes tonight, Ryan. It's
Ooh.
gonna be loose cannon.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
All
So,
right.
starting off, we have Pathfinder nerfs.
Love
We
that.
love that.
Love that.
Yeah. So, let's take a look at the Pathfinder nerfs right now. We've got Recon Drone. The Recon Drone has gotten changed a lot at
Yeah.
this point. So, his Analyze unique action gives you one reroll. It used to give Relentless. I think this is still great. Like, I've seen some people questioning whether you take the Recon Drone now. I think you definitely still do. He's still 12 wounds, 3-up save or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a 4-up save. But like you can still like get like a cool GA2 turn with like Monka where like you dash for free and then shoot something and then analyze and then you get another chance to kill something, and that's just really good. Relentless was a bit much, especially for a team that already has multiple sources of rerolls and buffs.
Yeah. It was just like another delete button that the team had.
Yeah, like you could almost, I think even if it didn't give any buff and it was just a GA2, you could probably justify taking it. Next up, the drone controller Pathfinder operative's drone scout ability. In a battle that uses hazardous areas such as Beta Decima, the drone operative must be set up wholly within 2 circle of your drop zone. In a battle that uses close quarters, you cannot set up the drone operative as specified. Instead, at the end of the scouting step, if that drone operative is wholly within your drop zone and has a conceal order, it can perform a free normal move and or operate hatch action, and its order cannot be changed in the first turning point. This is long overdue. This should have been introduced like in the first few months after Into the Dark came out.
Yeah.
Because having a Pathfinder drone start in like the middle of the board in like another room when all other forward deploys are like not legal. I don't know why it took them this long to do this. But
Pretty ridiculous, but yeah, happy to see that change.
Yeah, it's a good change. All right, and then the last thing, a recon sweep strategy ploy. You cannot use this during the first turning point. So that's a great one. I like that change a lot because it seems a lot of other ploys that they're making nowadays that are like that can't be used in the first turn, like Kasrkin's reposition. The Scout one, I don't believe, can be used in the first turn. I think it's just better. Obviously, there was like crazy Alpha Strike potential with that. But even like without the Alpha Strike, it let them play the mission a little bit easier on turn 1. And even in those games where you weren't Alpha Striking, the threat of the Alpha Strike was stupid to have to play around. Now you have a little bit less that you need to like respect from that model. Granted, you still get 1 free dash from taking the Recon Drone. You still get a free dash from Montka. You can still pick the Recon option in scouting phase. So like they still have ways. It's just a matter of you don't have to worry as much about getting Alpha Striked. And if they're doing it, it's a little more projected. And like they weren't always doing it, but they like you still had to worry about it and position against it. So overall, a good thing.
Yeah,
I would say. Any thoughts on the Pathfinder changes?
It's a heavy amount of changes, but I don't necessarily think that this bumps them down to like B tier. I think they're still going to be like A tier.
I agree.
But I think this just like, I mean, it hits a lot of the things that were kind of like an issue with this team. It hits the analyze on the recon drone. It messes with your action economy, with like the changes to drone controller, and as well as the change with recon sweep. So I think it makes the team, doesn't make them bad, it makes them like a lot more fair to be playing against. So
yeah, and you know the interesting thing with the Into the Dark forward deploy that somebody mentioned is the not being able to flip an order. That is a really big deal because typically the 2 drones you're taking are the gun drone and the recon drone, and in order to get that forward deploy with them, they got to stay concealed, which means that that's a big gun on turn 1 that's not shooting you.
Yeah.
On the other side. So I like that. I like in the chat, One Pang saying, I think the Farstalkers need a major nerf down to 6 operatives and make them have ballistic skill 6+, They're simply too good.
That is.
Yeah.
I mean, hey Shane, the stats say that Farstalker can, or not, excuse me, not, yeah, no, Farstalker Kinban are doing well, right? Don't the stats say that?
So I've been told. Let's move on. Legionaries. Oh my God, Legionaries, Ryan. It's happening.
Chad, tell me if I scrolled past them. I totally scrolled past them.
Yeah, go back up to Legionaries.
Okay.
Your roster can contain operatives with all 4 marks of chaos keywords.
Ooh.
But when selecting the battle, you still can't mix Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, and Khorne on the
Slanorn.
same one.
Wake up, babe. New Chaos God just dropped.
Khornesh and Slanorn. But this is huge. This is massive for Legionaries. One of the biggest hurdles to playing this team is that occasionally you could run into some like mid-ass team like Hearthkyn or Casterkin, and your tournament run is just over because you didn't take Tzeentch. But if you did take Tzeentch, 75% of the other things in the game were going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like no winning. Now you can prepare for anything, and I love it.
Yeah.
And also just like the underrated benefit of like I can take the Slaanesh Shrive Talon and the Khorne Anointed on the same roster and have like the options there for both.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
That is cool.
Overall, huge fan of that change. I've been hoping for that change for like a year plus, and I'm glad that it's here. But yeah, next up, nothing for Corsairs, Ryan. Nothing for Phobos. Ryan, can you read the blooded nerf? This needed blooded nerf.
So yeah, I was about to say when I saw this change, Trader Ogun operative, light terrain, and operatives with a wounds characteristic of 15 or less do not provide cover for this operative. What is up with blooded catching a stray here?
I don't know.
What has blooded done in the past like 6 months to like deserve this?
Well, it's like funny because like you could make like even if you want to make the argument that blooded were like overpowered right now, which I don't think they are.
No.
I think they're very good.
No.
Even if you did want to make that argument, the blooded Ogryn is not the reason. Like,
no.
And actually, the funny thing is, this nerf is like nothing. It's like a nothing burger because who is out here putting their Ogryn in light cover? Anyway,
It
like
is
you're throwing
so
it into heavy
easy
cover.
for most teams to just kill that model in a turn.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I guess there's other operatives in the game that can't take light cover that are big and chunky like him, but like why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
What what for what reason?
This is what we're focusing on. All right, dude.
All right. Next up, nothing for Void Dancers, nothing for Gellerpox. Gellerpox dodged a nerf in my opinion. I think that they are maybe deserving of a nerf right now. I don't know what it would be necessarily, but I think that they are really, really good.
No changes to Orc Coven.
Yeah, for once. Nothing for Clade. Wormblade. I heard Wormblade is apparently overpowered, but they didn't get nerfed. Because why would they?
Yeah.
Nothing for Warp Coven. You're right. Farstalker came out. All right, Ryan. Let's get into the Kroot buffs. Oh wait,
there's none.
There are none. Yeah.
They don't need them because the stats say they do good.
We're gonna circle back to this. I don't want to talk about this right now, but I have a lot of thoughts about this. Nothing for Breachers. Nothing for Intercession. I mean, you could argue that the two worst teams in the game right now, Intercession and Kroot, and neither of them got buffed. But okay. Hyrotech. Okay, we got to talk about the Hyrotech thing because this annoys me. So reanimation protocols ability, they got rid of the part where it says it happens before living metal. So that doesn't happen before living metal anymore. It used to say that on here, but they got rid of that. And in the book, according to the book, living metal happens first. Or living metal happens after, or no, yeah, first, before reanimation. So they regain now D3+2 lost wounds. So they're healing for less. I think it was 3 before plus the 2 from living metal, I want to say. Um, so basically, this means that your Despotech and your Chronomancer and your Prentech, when they revive, they're injured. Your Immortals, unless you roll there's a 1 in 3 chance they come back injured, I think. D3 plus 2. Or no, there's a 2 in 3 chance they come back injured. Um, and yeah. So this to me is just heavy-handed and unnecessary, I think. Um, I really don't like. I mean, this is a change that makes me just stop playing this team. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, this I would so much rather have it be a 3-up reanimation, and
Then have it be a
you
two
don't.
up with like this little wounds coming
Yeah,
back
or
for
like
you.
what? Why do we have to like roll for it? Just make it like 6 wounds flat, right? Like I
Yeah.
understand like getting up with 8 wounds occasionally was pretty oppressive, and that was probably too much. But like, why don't we just get rid of the roll and have them come back with like 6 wounds or something, so that we're not coming back injured? Um, like you're half the time your immortals are going to get up and they're going to be about that's like they can get one shot by like a fist, like a marine fist
Yeah.
or like an orc fist. And it's like, what's even the point of this ability? And even if they do get to activate, they're probably injured, so they're hitting on 4s now. Um, it's just like so unnecessary, especially because they were a good team and they were getting a lot of play. But Mandrakes came out recently who just obliterate higher tech. It's just the stupidest matchup. It's like a really, really unfavorable matchup for them. I think you could argue that Nemclaw is pretty good into higher tech. You could probably
Yeah.
argue that Brood Brothers are very good into higher attack. Um, I don't know about Jaegers, but like it's just they were playing fine. Like their win rate actually wasn't crazy if we care about that for what it's worth. Which there seems to be some inconsistencies here, in my opinion, about when win rates matter and when they don't. But I think this is too much. And personally, I'm not gonna play this team while this is a rule.
Yeah.
Uh,
That
I'm
stinks.
just done. Yeah, I'm just kind of done with the team. There, I have no. My interest is just sapped, just gone with
Yeah.
this change. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it's like I see that as an army wide ability, and I'm just like, this is just like pointless. Like, why is this an ability? Um,
Yeah.
like just have it be literally anything else at this point. Just throw out reanimation protocols and have it something else. Have it be like instead of reanimation protocols, I don't know, like a protocol of increased melee output or increased shooting output instead of this for like I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. It's just a useless ability now, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say useless, but it's so much worse. I just think it just feels terrible to get up with an injured model. I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna hit chat really quick.
Yeah. Let's see.
This is just so about the blooded Ogren. This is just a consistency thing with the Patriarch and Gellerpox. I don't think the blooded Ogren is on the same planet as the
Yeah.
Patriarch or
Yeah.
Gellerpox Hulk.
I
I
get
know they're
that,
big, but
and that is 100% what they're doing here. But like, yeah, it's totally unnecessary. Did not have to do that.
yeah. So what do we got next, Ryan? Nothing for Casterkin.
Exaction Squad.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Exaction Squad got a couple buffs here. What do we got?
So yeah, let me
That's the last 2 bullets here, I think.
enhance. I feel like I'm in Blade Runner right now, dude. So Terminal Decree Strategic Ploy. Each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative within 2 circle of it, or each time a friendly Exaction Squad gunner operative makes a shooting attack, regardless of distance. So what this does is your gunners are getting, or they're getting the 1 free reroll from Terminal Decree every time they shoot, as long as you have that strat ploy active. So
Yeah, they don't have to get within
this,
6.
in my opinion, this makes the team a lot better because now the gunners are. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
the
like for me,
problem
it's like
is,
if I'm playing Exaction Squad, like turn 2 and onward, I'm budgeting a CP for this ploy every single time now,
mhm.
just because
Yeah,
that's when stuff is going to start happening. My gunners are going to be shooting. So
for what it's worth, the only gunner worth taking, I think, even with this change, is the grenade launcher, because their gun options are like a stubber, a grenade launcher, and a Weber, which is 6 inches anyway.
yeah.
So I think now you probably take the grenade launcher because it's not
Oh
like a
yeah.
normal grenade launcher. It's like 4/6 damage AP1. There's not like a
Yeah.
blast profile. It's just one thing. Um, yeah, I get that is a pretty cool change because the gunners were really bad for this team.
Mhm.
Um, it'll be nice having a little bit of insurance on that 4 attacks on fours. Yeah. Um, and then there's another change, right?
Yeah, dispense justice. You can reroll any or all of your attack dice results of one result
Oh,
instead.
that's good.
Yeah.
So that's the melee strategic play. Where if you're fighting in an activation where you didn't move more than your movement characteristic, you get these rerolls. So when somebody charges you, you get these rerolls, and when you charge like 6 inches or less, you get these
Mhm.
rerolls. That's a great change.
Yeah.
The maces were like very swingy. They could just whiff, and I think there's going to be instances here where like really bad rolls become good rolls a little more often, whereas before you could, one reroll, you're going to take a bad roll, turn it mediocre, or take a mediocre roll and make it solid.
Mhm.
Um, now you actually have like the variance to make a bad roll good sometimes. So that's good.
Nice.
They needed that, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes them good, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Next up
Does
we've got
sniper? Somebody's asking if the sniper counts. No, because it is not a gunner, unfortunately.
yeah. So Hearthkyn Salvagers got some changes.
Yeah, they got some pretty nice changes,
Yeah.
actually. So first, all operatives gain the following ability: Secure Salvage. Each time a friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operatives fights in combat, if it's within 2 inches, if it's on an objective marker, basically, and the resolve successful hit step of that combat, you can subtract 1 from the damage inflicted on it from one of your opponent's successful hits. So it's melee damage reduction on 1 dice. So basically, if they're in combat on an objective, they're like a 9 wound model, effectively.
Mhm.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I do think that like you can't really like just give them more wounds flat out, and they struggle into melee, and they've already got a 3-up save, so you can't make them more durable that way. You don't want to make them faster because they're dwarves, and that's the point, is for them to be slow. So I think if you're gonna buff them durability wise, I think this is a really interesting kind of nuanced way to go about it,
Mhm.
and I really like it. I don't think there's anything else you really have to say about that.
The Thayan operative for the team gains the following ability: Force Field. The first time an attack dice inflicts 4 or more damage on this operative during the battle, ignore that inflicted damage. So your Thayan now has basically a once per game just a scratch, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, and it's 4 damage or more, which is like, I mean, that sounds like it's limiting, but really it's like if they're not, either way, it's going to take 3 hits to kill them, right? I mean, no matter how you cut it,
Right.
because you're either hitting him for three damage attacks and then he dies, or you're hitting him for 4 damage attacks and he ignores one of them and then he dies. So it's like you're going to need at least 3 hits to kill this guy. Um, that's a nice buff to the Thane. I mean, that model's going to be really hard to shift now. I really like that. I mean, he's not quite as beefy, or not the Thane. Did I say he is the
Use
Thane?
the
Yeah.
Thayan, yeah.
I'm thinking of it because the Jaegers have a Thane too with a
Right.
similar ability, better in my opinion, but very good.
So
Ryan,
next is
Felgor Ravagers.
yeah. So
Um,
the big one here was, well, I mean, these are all pretty big changes, I think. But I think the Flux Spray, Mangler, and Vandal operatives, all replacing instances of Relentless with Ceaseless, is pretty big. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Um,
yeah, I mean, so like, let's break it down a little. I think for the Flux Spray and the Vandal, this is not a necessary nerf. I think it's a little harsh. The Mangler needed to get nerfed.
Yeah, Mangler was ridiculous with Relentless.
Yeah. Um, the Mangler needed a nerf. But I don't like that the Flux Spray and especially the Vandal kind of like are catching strays here just because they happen to have Relentless.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's a little bit unfortunate. I think now you're going to lean into that Violent Temperament ploy maybe a little bit more when these models start getting hurt. There are definitely moments with Violent Temperament where I'm like, I don't want to use this because a lot of my hitters that I have in forward positions already have Relentless.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. And then we have two more changes here.
Yeah, so the Gnarl Scar and Mangler operatives subtract 1 from their wounds characteristic, which is like, okay, the
That's
Mangler
good.
gets hit again.
I mean, yeah, again, I think he needed to. Like, these are the models that randomly had 11 wounds instead of
Right.
10 for some
Yeah.
reason. So it's just nice now to not have to remember for the opponent which guys have 11 wounds for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So double hitting the Mangler, which I think that's the model that deserved to get nerfed the most here. So cool.
So next we have Reckless Determination Strategic Ploy. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Felgor Ravager operative that is not ready and is not in cover.
Yeah, so before you could use that ploy and a not ready model gets a retain, like a cover retain,
Right.
and it would stack with cover. Now it doesn't stack with cover, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean that's fine. It gives shooting teams a little more play into Felgors, I think.
Mm-hmm. How
So
often were you
overall,
using this ploy?
I think against some teams you had to use it.
Okay.
Like against Pathfinders, you have to use it at least once or twice. Same for Vet Guard. And like blooded and stuff. I think it's there's good use cases for it. So that's a good nerf. I think that's a fine nerf. I still think Felgors are pretty good, probably
Oh yeah.
after this. There's I don't know if it adds like counterplay. It just makes the team a little less like brute forcey in some
Mm-hmm.
areas. Probably still pretty strong. I would like lean. They're probably an A tier team at the moment. Maybe borderline S still just based on frenzy.
Mm-hmm. So the Warcom article that came out today that was talking all about this balanced data slate, in there, Shane, they were talking about how the reason they made this change was to encourage Felgor Ravager players to be more aggressive with the positioning of their models. Um, do you think that this kind of like encourages that? The change to reckless determination?
Um, Not really. I mean, you're still getting a retain. I mean, I guess like by be aggressive, they mean stand out in the open more. um, because now there's not an incentive to like not stand in the open.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, there's not an incentive to like be in cover with reckless determination online. I mean, I suppose technically it could become like it could lead to that, but I don't know. It's
Okay.
I think mostly you're going to play the team the exact same way.
Okay.
And occasionally you're going to whiff a little more often than you used to on certain guys. So,
Yeah.
nothing for Chaos Cult. Inquisitorial Agents, a lot of people thought they were going to get nerfed. They did not. Um, Ryan
This
Scout
this is
Squad.
the this is like the biggest shakeup in the meta, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
So the for operative selection, Scout Squad gets 1 additional operative, so they're going from 9 to 10 operatives. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then the Hunter and Warrior operatives add 1 to both damage characteristics of Combat Blade. So, Shane, I see you shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head?
this change is like so lazy and it's so ham-fisted and unnecessary. I mean, this is a team that I think, in my opinion, was like not good, but they weren't far from being good. And to give them a 10th operative is, first of all, that's like the textbook, like, let's just make a team better or worse, add an operative or remove an operative.
Yeah.
Um, is it like, I guess you can with this team because the box comes with 10, but like, is that the only reason? Like, we couldn't come up with anything else? Like, you can't make the heavy guns cumbersome or like, I don't know, anything, but also, okay. And then the damage on the blades, what on earth? So now the blades are 4/6 damage. These are combat blades. You know who else has combat blades, Ryan?
I think Reavers.
Reavers. And
Primaris Reavers.
you know what the damage is for a Reaver combat blade?
I honestly don't.
It's 4/5
Ah.
compared to the scouts 4/6. Like, why not just up
So
the
these
normal
tiny
damage?
little dinky scouts are hitting harder than full blown Primaris Reavers in power armor. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean this team has really easy access to crits.
Power sword
They have
combat knife. Yeah.
they have a ploy to turn a normal into a crit, I believe. The hunter can get lethal 3 up.
Oh my god, yeah, the
Um,
hunter is insane.
I just like, what? Why not just up the normal damage? I don't know. This change is silly to me. Um, I think that now with 10 guys and like these melee beast options, um, I think scouts are going to be like a kind of like commandos were, where it's just like a straight stat check team. They've all
Okay.
got 10 wounds, 4 up saves.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they like, I don't know, there's not a lot of tricks, but they just have a million wounds. They have shotguns that hit on 2s. They have random 4/6 damage blades. I don't get it really at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, if I had to describe this change, it's lazy. It's completely lazy. You do not need to do this much to make scouts work. I guess, I mean, they already worked, but to make them good, I don't think this level of change was needed whatsoever.
All right, and that is the end of the balanced data slate. No changes to any of the new teams, Nemesis Claw, the Brood Brothers, Blades of Cain, none of those teams. Yeah,
Yeah,
so overall, pretty mixed feelings.
I don't like this data slate.
Yeah, I do think
Yeah,
the bad outweighs the good,
yeah.
if I'm being honest.
Hate the higher tech changes. The Pathfinder changes are fine. Um, the higher attack, I think I already said that. Higher attack's awful.
Yeah.
Um, the scout changes are awful. The Exaction Squad changes are good. The Hearthkyn changes are good. I actually do like those. The Felgor changes, I don't know, probably not enough. It's mostly, my biggest issue with this data slate is not what's there, other than the scout things and the higher tech things. It's what's not there.
Mm-hmm. And this is your segue into our annual, oh, there's a balanced data slate. Let's talk about how Kroot are still bad.
Yeah, so I mean, the only explanation for not buffing Kroot that I can think of, and I don't know what goes on. I don't know how these decisions are made. Um, I have to imagine it boiled down to, oh, their win rate is somewhere between 45% and 55% for the past 3 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be the justification for this. And if there's not a better argument against using win rates to make any decision balance wise, I don't know what is. Because I think anybody that is any top player, anybody that's got a good grasp of game knowledge can look at Kroot and say, "Hey, this isn't good. This team is abject garbage. Um, like, how does this team not get changed? I do not understand in a million years. Like, to make those changes to scouts and then to leave Crute alone is insanity to me. I think it's unjustifiable on like a balance level. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, the team is just horrible. They've been so bad for so long. Um, they did get as you can see, I got them pulled up on the screen now. At the screen now, they do have a decent a decent amount of changes that have occurred with the team, but like, yeah, I mean, it's amounted to nothing. It's kind of like a Warp Coven situation. It's the same thing. A lot of changes. Nothing has come of it. Also, by that same logic, like I know that Warp Coven just got like their stuff like the last balanced data slate, I think.
Mhm.
But like same thing with them, they're still horrible. I think they're
I don't think
worse.
they're horrible. I
Warp
think that
Coven?
they're yeah, I think they're like below average,
Dude,
maybe.
I think Warp Coven are like worse than Crude. I don't know.
No, no, they're not. No, get out.
I don't
It's
know.
not even, it's actually not close. I'm going to disagree with you
All
entirely.
right, all right.
I think Crute is as bad of a team that exists outside of Compendium. Um, and really the main point I want to make, I mean, we've kind of said it before, and I don't want to, like make it seem like like I'm attacking other people that talk about this kind of stuff. But there is like an epidemic, a growing epidemic in our game of this obsession with statistics, the tournament statistics and win rates, and having to draw conclusions from it. And I think when it's gotten to the point where it has to be influencing some level of decision making at the lowest level here, like, on some level, because I can't come up with another reason. I can't fathom another reason why Crute didn't get changed here. It's crazy to me. Like, how are we playing the same game where somebody is it can play this team or look at this team or play against it and say, yeah, that's okay, that's fine. Um, and I think that the win rate stuff is getting out of control. And I'm not going to say that tournament statistics are useless or that it's like not real, like, but this game needs to be a lot bigger for us to start caring about tournament win rates.
Mm,
And I think right now the tournament win rate stuff is it's like a cop out for actual analysis. Like, you don't have to play as or against a team anymore. You could just look at an Excel spreadsheet and see a number between 45 and 55 and say, "Oh yeah, this is good. This is totally fine. They're balanced." Or see, you know, Wormblade with a 56% win rate and go, "Oh yeah, we have to nerf this team. Clearly they're overpowered." Like, what world are we living? Like, are we kidding?
yeah. No, I agree.
It's
I do think that like win rates definitely have a lot more weight to them in terms of like a balance analysis, I guess we'll call it. Um, if we're looking at a game like 40K, where
yeah.
there is at least a super GT, like at least once a month somewhere in the world, of over like 300 players, yeah, that when Kill Team is at those numbers, then we can start like looking at win rates and having that make up a lot of like the analysis. But I mean, if you've been playing this game long enough, you know what teams are good and what teams are bad.
Yeah, like, do we think Hand of the Archon is overpowered? They always have a great win rate. Void Dancers had a great win rate, a quote unquote unacceptably high win rate for like a year and a half straight and won 0 majors.
Yep.
They didn't do anything in on the competitive scale. And the thing about it is it doesn't even matter if like we could add, I could even argue that like we could add infinite more players and it's still not an entirely good sample set because 90% of the data is not meaningful. When you're looking at like mid-table and lower table, people are losing games not because of the factions they're playing. They're losing games because they're not playing well enough or something, or like their opponent maybe is better than them.
Yeah.
Like I think only when you get to the really high level, like the top tables, is when you actually start seeing the difference in power level between these factions. Um, so it's pulling data from everything, and I'm sure there's like a tournament win rate, like a statistics diehard out there that is like picturing themselves as like Brad Pitt from Moneyball. Like they're like I'm the old head over here. Like I just know a good team when I see it. But like it's fake analysis, and it's being used as like a substitute for like actually looking at teams and evaluating teams. It's I think you could I think it's undeniable that it's bad for the game.
Yeah.
Because look at these changes. I mean, this data slate. I don't usually have huge problems with data slates, but this data slate's a mess. And Farstalkers need to get changed. The scout changes are so heavy-handed. I don't get it. So I know there's people out there that love their tournament statistics. I'm not attacking you. I just think it's a lot of it's bogus and a lot of it's not actually very useful. Sorry.
All right,
What do you
yeah.
think,
So,
Ryan?
I mean, I really think you hit the nail on the head. Like, yeah, I mean what you said about the Void Dancers, like basically being the boogeymen of mid tables. 100% of that was due to players getting not dice checked but skill checked at those tables.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at mid table and you lose,
if
you're
you're
able
not
to.
familiar with the Void Dancers, and they did have a lot of tricks during that time period, they're just going to be pulling crap on you that you're just like, oh, this feels unfair. What the heck?
Yeah, and I mean, you could say, oh, well, there's other statistics other than win rate, like placing percentage. But then you're right back at the extremely small sample size where a handful, two or three guys or girls can go out and win a couple tournaments, and all of a sudden the placing statistics are way skewed, you know? Um,
Me Bass or Me Basse in chat said there was a month where Star Striders would have dropped by 50 to 100% depending on how you read them. I was the only one playing them that month. This is what we're
yeah,
talking about here.
yeah.
A tournament player
And
can
I
beat
don't know.
their own local small town scene with any team. Balance isn't applicable to medium or low skill tables. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And honestly, like I know the turn like looking at data and stuff, it's good content for other channels, but like can we be real about this? Like can we come on?
If we're being real.
Yeah.
Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop saying, "Don't let me pick up crude. I'll prove you all to be fools."
Ben, I won't let you pick up crude. Because I'm your friend and I'm going to do you a service and I'm not going to let you pick up crude. It is painful to the soul.
That's some other comments that I thought were interesting from chat when we were talking. That's the irony. Win rate versus titles. What's more important? It's got to be rings. It's got to be trophies, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I mean, so Ryan, we got like we were going to do an hour, so we got about 12 minutes. Let's just hang out and chat.
okay.
You want to do that
Yeah.
and talk to chat?
Mm-hmm.
Chat, if you guys have questions about the data slate, now's the time to ask. We're gonna hang out for a little bit, and I'm gonna go grab a water,
Sure.
Ryan, and you can keep an eye on chat. I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Sounds good. There are more teams currently in the game than there are players at several majors. Oh, sensor lock. Oh, so true. So true. But should Games Workshop, so Laurent St. Pierre says, but should GW balance teams based on top tables and tell mid table to get good, or based on mid tables who most likely represent the largest based on the largest based on the player base? Uh, St. Pierre, I think you make a good point from a business perspective. Games Workshop wants people to be playing their game. They want people to, you know, not feel like they're being beaten by like unfair teams. So I see the argument for that from a business perspective, from a pure gameplay design perspective. Um, and like we are talking competitive. That's the thing. So like these changes, they could have them with like the casual player in mind, but if we're talking what's good for competitive kill team, um, I think that Games Workshop should be telling mid-table players to get good, because if this game is going to be treated competitively, if we're talking about it through a competitive lens, yeah, get good because it's a competition.
Just sat back down. The thing about it too is like if you lose at mid and low tables, like you can get better. Like it's not
Yeah,
like there's nothing stopping somebody from, just getting better at the game and like learning from their mistakes instead of saying, "Oh, I lost to this team. It must be the game's fault." Like GW must address this. Because like solving the Void Dancer problem, even when they were, back when they could fly, it wasn't like a super complicated, crazy thing. It was just, learning some of their patterns and just taking certain stuff to exploit them and, yeah.
Flanking Fox asks, what would Command Point rank Hearthkyn with those new buffs? They seem close to being good, but struggle with positioning near end game, in my opinion.
Um I think they're pretty good right now. I saw them played pretty well at Atlantic City
Yeah.
by Dylan, and the extra little durability in melee I think is going to go far. I think the thing with the Thane is really nice. Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I don't know. I would say probably like B plus, maybe low A, but I don't know
I
if I'd
was
go that
thinking
far.
around that same range as well.
Yeah.
Nick Craven says, I was waiting for Shane to get up from his desk pantsless. No, guys, we wear pants. We wear pants
Sometimes
on stream. Well, yeah,
on
on
stream.
stream 100% of the time. Uh, okay, so this is actually an important question. Can you explain what changed about the ordering of living metal and reanimation? How did the current wording cause that to change? So I believe
So
he's
in the
referring
book,
to, yeah,
in the original book, before any data slates, the original texts, so to speak, of Hyrotech, it's specified, I believe it was clarified that living metal resolved before reanimation. And then in one of the early data slates, that was a buff where they made it so that reanimation occurred before living metal. And it was written on the data slate, which is a living document. In this data slate, they intentionally removed that part where it clarifies that living metal happens after reanimation, which means that now, for the purpose of determining what happens first in that interaction, we consult the book. And the book says living metal happens and then you reanimate. So now your uh, Necrons aren't reanimating with D3 plus 3 plus 2 from living metal. They're getting up with D3 plus 3. Or is it actually it's D3 plus 2? They even made that worse. So um yeah, that's basically breaking it down. That's what it means.
uh, what else have we got here? I guess also from Flanking Fox, this is probably a good question for a lot of people who are now looking at picking up the Scout Squad. What would be a good list for the new Scouts? Drop the Bolter guy that removes obscuring.
I don't know. Some people like that guy.
I kind
I
of like
don't
him.
really. I
Okay,
don't like
well
him.
now I'm dropping him.
It's like because honestly, I think you drop the missile launcher,
Okay.
um, which means that your long range guns, realistically, because the rest it's just gonna be knives and shotguns, some combination. So your only other long range guns are the sniper and the heavy bolter. And the sniper already has an action to remove obscurity, which means that it's mostly just for the heavy bolter. Like you could, you know, use the tracker so that the sniper can dash and then shoot, ignoring obscurity instead of having to pay the action. But there's going to be a lot of games where that doesn't happen though at all with the heavy bolter, and you just have a guy with a bolt gun running around, and I don't like that. But I don't know, some people like him. My first thought is like take the heavy bolter, take the sergeant with the chainsword, take the hunter obviously, and then take like 2 knives, and then run a crack grenade and 3 balanced on the knives for equipment. You can do smoke grenades. Smoke grenades are solid, but I mean, this team also has like a super concealed tactical ploy for one guy. So I don't know how much you need smoke grenades, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's list wise what I would do, and then fill out with shotguns.
So Geomag asks, Shane, what color are you painting your scouts for Chimera?
I'm not painting any scouts for Chimera.
Yeah, first off, Shane's not painting scouts. I'm gonna be painting the scouts.
Because you're painting them for your army.
Because I'm painting them for my Black Templars army.
No, I'm not gonna say that I won't take the scouts.
Yeah,
that
but
Ryan
who
painted
said
first.
who said he's going to be taking scouts to Chimera? I don't think anybody said that yet.
Yeah, nobody said that. I actually don't know what I'm taking to Chimera GT.
There's a lot of like decent options.
There's a lot of good options.
Thoughts on?
I do think scouts are cracked though.
Thoughts on Blades not getting buffs? Some of their hard matchups got nerfed, so indirect buff or indirect buff?
Yeah, I don't really necessarily think. I mean, I think Scout or Blades are a pretty good team. They have some bad matchups, but some of them got nerfed, like you said. And yeah, I mean, I think that maybe they need like a small buff, but it's not super necessary in my opinion. They're just a hard team to play.
Mm-hmm. Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop says, most people start at low to mid tables. You suck until you don't. That's just how life works. Incredibly based take. I just wanted to point that out. Guys, how do you get better at Kill Team? First off, by watching channels such as ours. But also, and more important, is actually playing the game on the tabletop. But don't the top players keep migrating to the better teams for competitive advantage? I'm going to say no. I think there's been multiple instances of top players taking teams that were not necessarily the darlings of the meta. A good example here is Shane, who took a Hyrotech Circle to Adepticon, and this was when everybody was like not about Hyrotech, and wound up winning the entire thing. And now here we are, and they're getting nerfed. So I mean,
you had Chris Baki taking Blades last week or a couple weeks ago to ACO.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there are some competitive players that will always jump to the good things, but not necessarily all competitive players.
Mm-hmm. And
it's a good mix.
And sometimes like top competitive players will have difficulty shifting over to like the new hot meta team because it's so unlike any of the other teams that they've played previously. It's kind of like having to learn Kill Team all over again for some people. So I don't necessarily agree with that.
Let's see. How should GW ask top players for their opinions? How does this get fixed with very limited play testing sources? I don't know. I don't know about the play testing, but get more maybe. Yeah, I don't know. They're a big company. I'm sure there's plenty of ways they could do it. They could poll top players. They could pay attention to what top players are saying on channels like ours and others.
Our email address is in the description of almost every video. They can just hit us up there.
Yeah, email SGW.
I mean, like they've done it before. They send us product all the time to review. So I mean, we're always open to provide feedback for this game that Shane and I both love.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to try to get down these questions like rapid fire. Thoughts on removing the extra operative from scouts and doing changes to their scouting options? Maybe. I think that would be a more interesting option. I don't know exactly what. I don't think 10 bodies is necessarily the most interesting way to make this team exist. Will I see y'all in Baltimore next week? I assume you're referring to the Goonhammer Open. I cannot do that one, unfortunately. My next event is in Ontario at the Chimera GT. If you're in the Northeast, consider going. Should be fun. It's a 2-day event. Ben, can't wait for scouts to stay bad with 4/6 knives. Keep waiting, my guy, because I think they're pretty good. Don't know if I missed it, but were there any buffs/nerfs you guys agreed with? Yes,
The Pathfinders.
we liked the Pathfinder, the Exaction, and the Hearthkyn buffs, or buffs changes. Felgor nerfs were fine, could have been better. And then we hated some of the other stuff a lot. Are Mandrakes the new Void Dancer troop? Maybe. I think that they have a lot of bad matchups, and they shouldn't be winning majors, but they're really good in terms of like mid-table play, and I think they're really oppressive to people, to certain teams. I don't think there's much of a Void Dancer thing as they are like a skew team, but it's definitely similar. The new change do nothing for them. The same 6 operatives with both Zinch and Nurgle with a single alternate loadout on Gunner. Heavy Gunner and Champ takes up 18 out of 20 slots on the roster. I know for a fact that it changes the roster. I've ran almost the same roster for an entire year with Nurgle Legionaries, and I always had space if I just cut out the fat for fitting in a Zinch list if I could. Why can't Intercession get a buff, Remy? Good question. They're horrible. They should get a buff. But I guess the stats just, even the stats that I've seen suggest they're bad, so I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know what went into the decision to not buff Intercession, but
I think it's probably just like, okay, guys, this team was meant to be like the introductory kill team, 4-kill team. We already buffed. Well, I don't even know if they buffed. We already nerfed it once. We already adjusted the rules. Let's go ahead and drop the team now and focus on some other issues. That's what I would expect, but I mean, yeah, I'm in agreement. They're bad right now, and they're bad on stats, so give them something. Just don't give them like another operative. God, don't do that.
Pat, looking forward, if we do get a new edition of Kill Team, what are changes that you two would like that couldn't be done in just a data slate? I've liked the idea floated around about like making Overwatch better, like just like making elites work.
Yeah, really.
Other than that, I don't really know. I'm sure there's a lot of things they could do. Legionary should have Mark removed from the roster. I think it's more of a roster problem than a Legionary problem. I just think rosters are pointless for most things. Everyone in Exaction Squad should have gotten a rest. Cole, you just want to arrest all my guys, don't you? Whoever made this data slate should be arrested. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I don't. They're just doing their job, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up, Ryan. Do you want any closing thoughts?
Yeah. If you haven't gotten your scout squads, go to your local game store and get them now, because I'm not sure how much longer they're gonna last on those shelves.
Yeah, thank you everybody.
That's my final thought for you.
Yeah, thank you everybody to joining us tonight. It was a fun live stream.
Yeah.
You got to see the rants and the hot takes and the rage.
I don't know about rage.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry if I offended anybody. Kill Team is just a game. We're all having fun.
Yeah.
Everybody, go get some rest. Go read up on scouts. Like Ryan said, pick up the box.
Go play some more Kill Team.
They're cracked. Go play Kill Team.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do this weekend. So.
Oh yeah. Yep. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap up the stream here. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you all again soon. We've got some videos coming out in the next couple of weeks, I think, on the docket for editing. So